The fluorescent lights of Training Bay 7 hummed overhead, casting their sterile glow across what the humans called the sandbox. I stood there, my 3 sensory stalks twitching with nervous anticipation, clutching my plasma rifle like it was the only thing keeping me from floating away into space. Which, technically speaking, it was not, but comfort comes in strange forms when you are about to be humiliated. My name is Vorrn. I am a Kelthani warrior, 3rd class. I had survived 6 combat simulations. I had passed the endurance trials. I had even managed to eat that disgusting protein paste the humans served in the cafeteria, without vomiting through my secondary breathing tubes. I thought I was ready for anything. Then Instructor Hawkins walked in. The woman moved like gravity itself was optional, her boots striking the metal floor with rhythmic precision that made my inner ears ache. She stopped at the center of the training bay, crossed her arms, and smiled. That smile. That terrible, knowing smile that said she was about to make our lives spectacularly difficult. "Good morning, recruits," she announced, her voice carrying across the space without any need for amplification. Humans are loud. Unnecessarily, confusingly loud. Today we are going to play a game. Nobody moved. When Instructor Hawkins called something a game, it meant someone was going to cry. Probably me. The scenario is simple, she continued, pacing now, her eyes scanning our motley crew of 15 recruits from 7 different species. Your ship has crashed on a hostile world. Your weapons are destroyed. Your communications are down. And something very large, very angry, and very hungry is headed your way. She paused for dramatic effect. Humans love their drama. You have 5 minutes to improvise a weapon. Any weapon. Using only what you find in this training bay. Beginning now. The bay erupted into chaos. Grax, the mantoid to my left, immediately skittered toward a storage locker, his 6 legs carrying him faster than should be physically possible. Tila, a Vorrn with scales that shimmered like oil on water, lunged for a discarded pipe near the wall. Others scattered in every direction, the sound of scrambling feet and desperate searching filling the air. And then there was Marcus Webb. The human stood absolutely still, his dark eyes sweeping the room with the kind of calm that made my survival instinct scream at me to run. He did not move. He did not panic. He just looked. 3 seconds passed. Maybe 4. Then he moved. Marcus walked, not ran, to a nearby maintenance cart. His hands worked with mechanical efficiency. He grabbed a fire extinguisher, unscrewing the safety pin. He snatched a roll of adhesive tape from a workbench. A length of cable from the floor. A broken antenna from the corner. A bag of industrial lubricant pellets from who knows where. I watched, my assignment forgotten, because what in the name of the Galactic Council was he doing? 2 minutes remaining. Hawkins called out, and I jolted back to reality. Right. Weapon. I needed a weapon. I scrambled toward a pile of scrap metal, my manipulator claws sorting through the debris. A sharp piece of hull plating. That could work. Maybe. If I held it correctly. If the angry creature was conveniently my exact height. If I was very, very lucky. I glanced back at Marcus. He had assembled something that looked like it belonged in a museum of primitive torture devices. The fire extinguisher was now mounted to a length of pipe using the tape, the cable wrapped around it in a configuration I could not begin to understand, and those lubricant pellets, he had stuffed them into the extinguisher nozzle somehow. 30 seconds. Grax had found a wrench. Tila had her pipe and was looking quite proud. Chkara, the insectoid whose name I could barely pronounce, held what appeared to be a light fixture she had torn from the ceiling. Desperate times, Marcus was attaching the antenna to his contraption now, bending it into a trigger mechanism. His face showed no stress. No worry. Just focus. Time. Weapons down. We all froze. Hawkins walked among us, inspecting our improvised arsenal with the eye of someone who had seen everything and been impressed by nothing. She nodded at Grax's wrench, acknowledged Tila's pipe with a grunt, frowned at my hull plating in a way that made me want to apologize for existing. Then she reached Marcus. "What," she said slowly, "is that?" Marcus lifted his creation. Pneumatic projectile launcher. The compressed gas from the extinguisher propels the lubricant pellets at approximately 400 meters per second. The antenna serves as a targeting guide and trigger mechanism. Effective range, 30 meters. Lethal at 15. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. Hawkins stared at him. We all stared at him. My brain was trying to process the words, but kept getting stuck on 400 meters per second and refusing to move forward. "You built a gun," Hawkins said, and something in her voice sounded like respect and annoyance had a baby, from a fire extinguisher. "Yes, How long did that take you?" "About 3 minutes. I spent the first 2 inventorying available materials and calculating structural integrity coefficients." Of course he did. Hawkins turned to face the rest of us, and her expression was somewhere between amusement and pity. "Anyone else want to show me what they have?" Nobody spoke. My hull plating suddenly felt very inadequate. "That was the warm-up," Instructor Hawkins announced, and my central heart sank into what humans call the pit of despair. "Now for the real test." She gestured to the far end of the training bay, where a massive door groaned open, revealing a cargo hold filled with, well, everything. Boxes of rations, medical supplies, broken equipment, random debris that looked like it had survived 3 different explosions and a meteor shower. The kind of mess that accumulates when nobody wants to deal with proper inventory management. Same scenario. Hostile environment. No weapons. But this time, you have 30 seconds, and I want to see 3 different improvised weapons from each of you. Go. 30 seconds. 3 weapons. I felt my sensory stalks droop in defeat before the challenge even began, but Marcus smiled, not the friendly smile humans use when they greet each other. No, this was the smile of someone who had been waiting their entire life for this exact moment. He sprinted into the cargo hold, and what happened next will haunt my dreams until my spawning cycle ends. He grabbed a metal bed frame, stomped on the center joint, and snapped off one leg. Weapon 1. 8 seconds elapsed. He snatched a canister of compressed oxygen, a handful of screws, and some electrical wire. His hands moved so fast they blurred, twisting, connecting, creating. Weapon 2. 16 seconds. He picked up a sock. Just a sock. A single, ordinary sock from a laundry bag. He filled it with bolts from a nearby container, tied it off, and swung it experimentally. Weapon 3. 24 seconds. The rest of us were still figuring out which direction to run. Time. Grax had managed 1 weapon. A jagged piece of plastic. Chkara held a heavy wrench and looked relieved. Tila had found another pipe, because apparently pipes were her security blanket. I had grabbed a handful of items, but could not figure out how any of them could harm anything larger than my pride. Hawkins walked to Marcus, eyeing his collection. Demonstrate. He held up the bed frame leg first. Spear. Basic, effective, requires minimal training. Thrust to vital areas. He set it down and lifted the oxygen canister contraption. Pressure bomb. Electrical charge heats the wire, ignites the oxygen under pressure, creates an explosion with a concussive radius of approximately 5 meters. Shrapnel from the screws extends lethal range to 8 meters. My translator implant had to reboot twice during that explanation. And the sock? Hawkins asked, one eyebrow raised in that insufferably human way. Marcus swung it in a lazy arc flail. Simple kinetic weapon. The weight concentration generates significant impact force. Effective for close combat or disorienting targets. He paused. Also useful for morale. Nothing quite says desperation like being attacked with laundry. Someone laughed. I think it was Tila, but honestly, I was too busy questioning every life choice that had brought me to this moment. Hawkins nodded slowly. Anyone else want to share? We remained silent, a collective monument to inadequacy. Webb, Hawkins said, turning back to Marcus with a look that made me glad I was not him, you seem comfortable with improvisation. How many weapons do you think you could make from this cargo hold? Marcus glanced around the space, his eyes moving with calculated precision, like he was running complex equations in his head while simultaneously planning our funerals. Given the available materials and no time constraints. 47 distinct weapons. 62, if you count variations on delivery mechanisms. 40. 7. Weapons.my translator implant shut down completely this time. Just gave up. Said no, thank you. I am done processing absurdity for today. Prove it, Hawkins said, and I swear she was enjoying this. What followed was 15 minutes of educational terror. Marcus moved through that cargo hold like a natural disaster with a shopping list. He created spears, clubs, and stabbing implements from metal scraps. He fashioned a crossbow from elastic tubing and a clipboard. A whip from electrical cables. A net from cargo webbing. He turned a medical syringe into a dart, a light fixture into an electrified prod, and a plastic container into something he called a caltrops dispenser, that would make approaching him a geometrically terrible idea. He made a garrote from wire. A morning star from a chain and a weighted ball. A smoke bomb from chemical cleaning supplies that made Instructor Hawkins physically step back and say, okay, do not activate that one indoors, ever. He created projectile weapons, melee weapons, explosive devices, chemical irritants, traps, and one thing he called a psychological deterrent, that involved a mannequin, some glow sticks, and an unholy amount of fake blood from the medical trainer kit. I did not ask. I did not want to know. By weapon 30, the rest of us had stopped pretending to participate and just watched. This was beyond training. This was a cultural revelation. A glimpse into why humans had somehow clawed their way from primitive tool users to galactic nuisances in an evolutionary eye blink. They see weapons everywhere. In everything. A human does not look at a sock and think clothing. They think portable bludgeon. They do not see a fire extinguisher as safety equipment. They see a compressed gas launcher. Everything is a potential instrument of violence, and they are disturbingly creative about it. When Marcus finished, 47 improvised weapons lay arranged in neat rows across the cargo hold floor. He stood beside his arsenal, barely winded, and looked at Instructor Hawkins with an expression of polite inquiry, as if to say, "Did I pass?" Hawkins surveyed the collection, her face unreadable. Then she turned to address all of us, her voice carrying that particular tone instructors use when they are about to impart wisdom that will probably save your life someday. "This," she said, gesturing to Marcus and his terrifying display, "is why humans survived. We are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the smartest, despite what we tell ourselves at bars." A few chuckles from the human recruits. "But we are adaptable. We improvise. We look at problems and see solutions. We look at objects and see tools. And when necessary, we look at anything and see a weapon." She locked eyes with each of us in turn. "Learn from this. Because in real combat, your fancy plasma rifle will jam. Your energy blade will run out of charge. Your targeting computer will fail. And when that happens, you better know how to turn your environment into your army." My sensory stalks quivered in acknowledgement. Lesson received. Humans are terrifying. Message understood. As we filed out of the training bay, I walked beside Marcus, curiosity overcoming my sense of self-preservation. "How did you learn all that?" He shrugged, that casual human gesture that somehow conveys entire philosophies. "Summer camp. Survival training. Boredom. YouTube videos." He glanced at me and grinned. "We are pretty good at breaking things. Including the rules about what counts as a weapon." "Indeed you are," I thought. "Indeed you are," and somewhere in the back of my mind, a small voice whispered the truth that every species in the galaxy would eventually learn: never, ever tell a human to improvise. They have been practicing for millennia, and they are unnervingly good at it. Hello everyone. If you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, don't forget to support our channel. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We regularly upload amazing, informative, and entertaining content just for you. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to bring even better content in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome to our growing community.